A Canadian man who died 4 times shares his shocking afterlife details. Now, there have been books written by many who have had personal experiences of what they have encountered after their coma or resuscitation or afterlife, life after death experiences. In 2020, Matthew, a resident of Prince Albert, Canada, faced significant challenges, single-handedly raising his 10-year-old daughter and shouldering the responsibility of caring for his ailing mother. He endured a trying personal period in his life. She did not show how sick she was, so when she died, it was a huge shock for me. She was my world, and when this stability disappeared, I just flew off the coils, Matthew says. Matthew described being under such overwhelming stress that he now has hazy recollections of the period between his mother's passing and the day he found himself in the hospital. Having been diagnosed with diabetes earlier, he struggled to adhere to his medication regimen amidst the mounting stress, leading to instances of forgetfulness. He says, eventually, I just didn't have any insulin left. Then they told me that my daughter called 911 and they rushed me to the hospital. On October 10th, 2020, Matthew was admitted to a hospital in Prince Albert due to critical health conditions. At that point, his pancreas had virtually ceased functioning, accompanied by kidney failure. Additionally, his heart stopped beating and required resuscitation. Within the following day, Matthew experienced another cardiac arrest, necessitating another revival. Consequently, a decision was made to transfer him via helicopter to St. Paul's Hospital in Saskatoon. Remarkably, during the helicopter journey, Matthew's heart ceased functioning for the 3rd time, prompting immediate resuscitation inside the aircraft. Upon arrival in Saskatoon, Matthew fell into a coma that persisted for 3 weeks. During this period, doctors attempted to persuade his brother to sign a do not resuscitate order in the event of another cardiac arrest. They expressed strong conviction that Matthew's chances of survival were slim. Despite their pleas, Matthew's brother steadfastly refused to sign that waiver. And then Matthew woke up from a coma. He says, I remember seeing my doctor's face, and he has the most beautiful blue eyes. It was the first thing I saw when I woke up from a coma. At that moment, I can say that I loved this man more than my brother because I knew I was in big trouble, and I knew this man was there to help me. Following his ordeal, the medical personnel conveyed to Matthew that this awakening was nothing short of a miracle. However, his path to recovery was far from smooth. He said, I had a big tube stuck down my throat. I couldn't eat. I couldn't go to the toilet by myself. I could barely move. The doctors told me that they had to open me up and manually clean out the insides. The doctor described it as getting rid of the buckets with green stuff. Just when it appeared that Matthew was making a gradual and promising recovery, he experienced a 4th cardiac arrest. He said, when it happened for the 4th time, everything was different. This time I remember what happened after death, and it was then that I found out that everything that was said about it was true. I lost consciousness, and when I woke up, I found myself on a very large white field where I was floating in the air, and there were dark figures around me. When I looked to the end, there was a tunnel to which other dead people swam or floated to. I thought, of course, why not, and also swam there. The whole scene was calm and very peaceful. Suddenly, someone, I don't know who, told me to turn around. When I looked back, I saw hands approaching me, and this made me stop. I looked at my hands and said, I'm not done yet, and I reached for my hands. The second I grabbed my hands, I woke up in the ICU. Since he was on the verge of death, Matthew has been slowly recovering, but 2.5 years later, he's still suffering from long-term effects. He lives with 1/3 of his pancreas. His memory is no longer the same, and he sometimes has problems with his balance, so severe that he crashes into walls, and even now he has trouble walking, doing housework, or digesting his food. During his ordeal, Matthew also lost a lot of weight. He says, I've always been a big guy. At one point, I almost gained 136 kilos. When I got to the hospital, I weighed about 127 kilos. During my stay at the hospital, I lost 62 kilos. and it was the most excruciating weight loss plan that I had ever tried, and I do not recommend it to anyone, he said. Previously, Matthew held employment as a laborer and also worked as a janitor in hospital. Uncertain of his future work prospects, he currently relies solely on a meager social allowance to sustain himself. Matthew reveals that his utmost aspiration is to remain by his daughter's side, providing her with support and care until she reaches the age of 18. He fervently hopes to manage this responsibility without any decline in his health. Matthew's journey through his life has been marked by extraordinary challenges, leading him to reflect on the concept of the afterlife. His encounters with death and resuscitation have stirred deep contemplation about what lies beyond our earthly existence. And this is on Infinity Explorers by Anne Shrivastava. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.